My name is Mike Earl. I'm the Director of Community Services for the Village of Lake Zurich. Thank you for tuning in to this workshop that we have for you in a little bit. And it will be presented by Dan Peterson, the Building and Zoning Manager for the Village. And I'd like to tell you about a little bit about Dan's qualifications and credentials. Dan Peterson has been the manager of the Building and Zoning Department since July 2007. He has been in the building code industry for over 20 years and holds numerous national ICC certifications, ICC standing for the International Code Council. Prior to his position with Lake Zurich, Dan was manager of training for the Building and Fire Code Academy, responsible for developing and implementing building and fire code training throughout the country. Dan was also the Assistant Director of Building and Zoning for the Village of Cary and Code Enforcement Officer for the Village of Arlington Heights. During his career, Dan also served as president for both the Illinois and the American Associations of Code Enforcement and is still today an active member of the International Code Council. Just recently, a few months ago, in 2014, Dan received the President's Award from the Illinois Association of Code Enforcement in recognition of his service to the profession. So we are very pleased that Dan is able to give this presentation. I think we have one of the more capable building and zoning code enforcement officials in this area, certainly. So without further ado, Dan Peterson.
Thank you. Welcome to the Community Services Facility and our Home Improvement Basics. The purpose of tonight's workshop was to try and inform you on the basics of our role as the Building and Zoning Division in your project, how proper planning and plans are essential to success of your project, and how do we get to there? Do we hire a contractor or do we do it ourselves, and what it takes to get to that point. So over the next couple minutes, we're going to try and get us from our ideas, our concepts, to reality. The role of the Building and Zoning Division. We are your ally. We are your advocate. We are here to protect what is your greatest investment, your home. That is the purpose of what we do, is to protect your home. We are the quality assurance folks. We're the guys who are making sure that the workers are doing the job that they say they're going to do, that you've contracted for, that you get the end result of what you want. Nobody wants to see money wasted or your home damaged or not to its fullest value from the project you're planning. And how we ensure that by making sure we meet the minimum life safety and building codes. And I want people to understand, our adopted codes are the minimum standards. You'll hear from your contractors, oh, that's so tough, they require way more than what you really need. So we're gonna just do it my way, or we're gonna cut here. Remember, the codes are the minimum standards, but they do protect your investment. How do we accomplish this? We do this by providing project handouts and information. We have our information on the village's website. Everything from walks, patios, decks, furnaces, interior remodeling, additions, any type of project that would require a permit. We've tried to get that information on the website. I'm going to jump down. We also provide technical assistance for all of those. So if you have a question, whether it's on a furnace, the new energy code, or how to design it and how to put the plans, we can help you with that technical assistance. We perform plan reviews to make sure that the plans meet the minimum code requirements to ensure compliance with the codes and your project goes off well. We do our quality control inspections to make sure that the workers are doing what they say they're going to do. We have a fully trained and certified team. Every inspector that the Village of Lake Zurich has holds multiple ICC certifications in the disciplines they inspect. We also have certified Illinois plumbing inspector on staff, and then for engineering we consult with a professional engineering firm, Manhart Engineering, to help us ensure that your whole project is done, reviewed, and inspected to the highest level. Every once in a while we do have to initiate enforcement. Not every contractor will meet what they do, and we're here to be your ally, to try and ensure that the work is done correctly. How do we do that? We require all our contractors to be registered and have performance bonds on file. So if we have to go after them, we have a mechanism on how to remedy the problem. We also provide information and resources on the village's website, benchmarks, and other media to assist. A prime example was last year in our hailstorm. There was a lot of roofing fraud, siding fraud, and we were getting the information out within hours of information of various contractors, how to protect ourselves, how to report complaints. So we're here to help protect your investment. Okay, our role in the permit process. What do we expect, and how, and what should you expect? What we expect is a complete and detailed application. That makes our job easier. I look at it this way. If you have all the information up front, the timing goes faster. We can get this moving quicker instead of going back over and asking for the same information over and over and over. Time frame for reviews. Basic things like hot water heaters, AC furnace replacements, and some other minor permits we can issue at the counter, and we do that now. Others are 3 to 5 days. Minor improvements, some zoning reviews. Most interior remodeling is 7 to 10 working days. New single-family homes and new commercial are 10 to 15 days for the initial review. I want people to understand that the initial review is just that, initial review. If all the plans are complete and accurate, we can usually issue the permit at that time. However, if there's not, the reviews are not correct, then there may be some revisions that need to be done. So please understand that the initial review is just that, the review. You'll get an approved means that it's been priced ready for pickup. If it does not comply, you'll be given a list of reasons and deficiencies that need to be addressed in the plans. Once the permit is issued and the project starts, there are various stages in which the project is inspected. At those points, you'll be either passed or failed in the deficiencies listed, and then re-inspections will occur. Are there any questions? Okay. That is our role in the process. We are here to help you get from the ground up, make sure that the plans meet code and the construction meet codes. Now, proper plans and planning. I think this is probably the most crucial stage that a homeowner, a resident, a contractor, builder can do to assist themselves in their project. Understand what it is you want to do. Make a checklist. Do your research. Because guess what? Uncertainty costs money. If you don't know what you're buying, how do you know how to budget? If you haven't done your homework. We've had a case right now where a woman wanted oak cabinets. She got oak veneer, not solid oak, but it was never specified. She's paid for oak cabinets, but got oak veneer, and there wasn't much we could do. It wasn't spelled out. So there are tools on the website. This happens to be a kitchen remodeling checklist. Ask questions. Do your research on what you want. Do you want Kohler basic? Do you want American Standard plumbing fixtures? Do you want brass? Do you want polished? Each of those costs money, and understanding what you want will help put the plans together. For most home residential projects, you do not need an architect or design professional. You can do it yourself. The question is, do you have the knowledge or the experience to do your plans? Only you can decide that. If you have questions, we're here to guide you and help you. Again, make sure you do your research on budget, materials, timing, and that'll help you get started. Now, this is an actual plan that we received on a kitchen remodel. Okay? Incomplete, lacked detail, no dimensions, no electrical information, no plumbing information, and then he got mad because his permit wasn't ready in 7 days. Okay? No scope of work. We had no idea what he was trying to accomplish. And so when we say, take your time, you may know what you want, you may not have the skill to get there. You may have to hire someone or bring someone in that can assist you with this design. This is a better set of plans. It's hard to see here, but the dimensions are laid out, the kitchen's laid out, the size of the cabinets, the electrical's listed. There's a complete scope of work detailing the manufacture of the cabinets, the manufacture of the plumbing deals. This person here took the time to understand exactly what their kitchen was going to look like. And this applies to bathrooms, kitchens, basement remodels, decks, sheds. The more detail you can put in here helps us help you to make sure it's planned correctly so the work will ultimately be right. Here, you know what your kitchen's going to look like. That other drawing, not so much. Okay? This here, you can control your costs. That other drawing, what were you buying? That's a huge issue. Okay, now we get to the point, do you hire a contractor or do you act as your own general? And this is a tough question for most homeowners, because most homeowners hear, oh, if I hire a contractor, they add 20 to 25% on the job. I need to save money. Well, you have to ask yourself, do you have the time that it takes to plan this, do the research, hire the subs, negotiate the contracts, understand the contracts, buy the materials, all the items that go into it? Do you know the subcontractors and tradesmen? Because guess what? Most subcontractors and tradesmen do not cut private homeowners the best deal. Why? Because it's a one and done job. If they're working for a general contractor that has 5 or 6 projects, that subcontractor knows, hey, I'm going to get possibly other work if I cut this guy a good deal and do good work. So he's keeping there. So the general contractor can leverage pricing with his subs. Okay? Are you prepared for the unexpected? Are you prepared that a contractor doesn't show up and blows your schedule all over the board? What if you get to the job site and materials don't show up? Get to the job site and one subcontractor removed work that another contractor put in the day before. How can you handle that? Do you have the expertise? Do you know or have the experience in college, in construction, to know what was done correctly or what was not done correctly? And I think it's more important to know and have an understanding when you look at something, do you know if it was done right? Most average citizens don't have that level of experience. And then finally, what are your legal responsibilities? Do you know what you're legally responsible for in terms of insurances, liability, workman's comp, all those other items that you acting as a general now are responsible for in terms of subbing out? And can you negotiate a good contract and price? Now, if the answer to all that is yes, it may be the right option for you. If no, then you might want to look at hiring a contractor. And here's some tips to do that. And this is coming from This Old House magazine. I subscribe. And it's general rule of thumb, and we've seen this throughout the industry. This is nothing new. But get recommendations. Your friends, your neighbors, people at church, they have usually had projects, they've usually had good success. Ask them. But just don't go on their recommendation. Look at hiring a contractor as a job interview. You have to do the work. You do phone interviews. Meet face to face. Do you have a comfort level with this person? Do you have an understanding? Do your homework. Investigate all the facts. You know, check jobs out. Call their references. Call their subs. Do they pay on time? Check the county records. Is there a problem with liens being filed? There are all kinds of tips that will lead you to a contractor. Check with us and see if we have any of our contractors are not registered. If they've got complaints, we can check that fairly well. Get bids. Now, how do you get bids? If you haven't done the pre-planning, it's very hard for you to understand what the cost of the job is going to be to know whether or not you're going to get a good deal. Make sure you establish payment schedules. One of the biggest mistakes homeowners do in their projects is paying either the majority up front or making the final payment before we've done our final inspections to make sure the job is done correctly. And then once the final payment's made, try to get that contractor back to finish the work. And then it makes it even more difficult if there wasn't a permit drawn. We get quite a few calls regularly. Well, I had this work done and my contractor didn't finish the job. Really? What's your address? Did you do this? Then they want our help instead of up front. Make sure you put everything in writing, because if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen, okay? And that goes to that example of the lady with the type of oak cabinets. She just said oak. She got oak veneer, not solid oak. And please don't let price be the only guide. One of the contractors that I've known for years, he says, if someone says they hired the lowest bidder, that contractor's got to make up his money somewhere. And it's usually in skimping on something or some equipment or some fixture within your project. So you just need to be aware. So those are 8 very good tips on selecting a contractor to do your job. Now, that's in a nutshell basic tips in the basics of home improvements. These are some examples of actual projects in Lake Zurich and others that were done either under permit or without permit, and why we're here to help you. This particular one, all the stairs are cut the wrong dimensions and are a trip hazard. That one up there is open electrical. The pipe there is the wrong material. That's a non-potable water material, and also it snakes along. There's not enough room to work on the sink. The deck on top, they were short, so they scabbed together rotten wood. They didn't plan out correctly. The windows, brand new windows on rotted sills. And the homeowner was ready to accept that. And then finally the washer and dryer and furnace, not enough room, did not meet the code for maintenance, clearance, access to electrical panel, and ventilation. If the tube came out on the dryer, the exhaust tube, there was no way to get back there to put it on. So they tried to cram 5 pounds of stuff in a 2-pound box. So we were able to identify all of those issues during inspection and get them corrected for the folks so they had a good project and their house was done correctly. With that, I want to say thank you very much for your time tonight and your patience and joining us here. So any questions on here?